All right. And also, let me ask this. What do you want to be called? You Jay Tumbleweed? You know,
No,
you got to tell your government name.
No, you just call me Jeff.
All right, cool. I'll be cracking up. Like my dad had his whole name up there. I'm like, man, what you doing? Don't be outing me like that. So cut it out. All right, let's get ready to start. What's up, everybody? And a big what up, doe, because I'm coming today with Every Black Man Has a Story on the Black Prospector Show with my boy from the D, my boy Jeff. So before we get it right into that interview, let me just go through the usual housekeeping. You know what it is. Like and subscribe to the show. Please share. These stories are going out really targeting Black men. Now, look, man, I'm not hating on any other guys out there, but my main goal, my main focus, my main reach is telling the story of Black men, telling the stories of Black men, because oftentimes those are the stories that really don't get told unless it's in some kind of bad form, bad way about somebody who stole something, went to jail, hurt their knee playing basketball, and now they're working at the plant. Those kind of stories. But no, we going through life stories that all Black men like to talk about and the things that they experienced as they were growing up. So today, I'm coming at you with, we'll get to that in a second. I may do my intro later on and put this in the front. I won't tell you, we actually have some continuity here with the stories that are coming out, but we'll get to that in one moment. But let me introduce to y'all. Now, this is my friend. The only friend that I've had longer than him is the one, I don't know how we do this in YouTube world, where we put it up here like the box shows. So at the end of the video, there'll be a box up there, and check out that box where I interview my friend Dana that I had met in 3rd grade, but my boy Jay, we met in 7th grade. So, I'm kind of like quicksand. When I friend people early on, they can't get away. I'm just going to be staying stuck on them and stuff. But this brother is another brother that also really played a role. I know I say that about everybody on the show, of telling stories. And it's because this brother been telling me stories since we were kids. I mean, he is a natural at this. So without further ado, I'm going to present Jeff. What up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, everybody.
I would like you to start out with the story. Now I'm changing. Usually I just let everybody start out with their own story and just say, hey, tell me a story. But with you, because you have such good stories, would you please start out the show telling us the story? And then we'll come back to the beginning of when you were a wee young lad. But let's go with the story that most people won't believe because it resembles Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or it resembles Risky Business, those movies from the 80s. Man, what happened that time when your parents went out of town and you took the car?
Man, see, you started off with a life-changing event. And so I'm going to preface that story, and just about every story that I'm going to tell has this following punchline: pay now or pay later. Okay, keep that in mind. Pay now, pay later. So my parents went to the Bahamas, left the 16-year-old Jeff at the house all by himself. Keys to the car, both cars are in the garage. Keys to the cars are in the house. I just had to check in with my local family members, every day to make sure that I was okay. So my mom was driving a Dodge 400 and my dad was driving a Chrysler New Yorker. So I knew that if I moved the New Yorker and adjusted the seat or did anything with that car, my dad would know. So I opted to ride in the 400 because it was the older car. Anyway, first night they're gone. I'm cruising. I'm chilling. I'm chilling, and I'm rolling through the streets of Detroit, and everything's good. The next day was Marshall Mitchell's 16th birthday party. So, I had to roll up on her,
You have to.
Doing what I do. So, I took a page out of Kurt's book and I threw on a little shark skin suit that I had, and hopped in the car. And this is before GPS. So, you kind of got to look everything up on a map when you don't know where you're going.
That's right.
Got to the venue, showed up everything. I bounced. And then the next morning, I was just driving. I was, wasn't even doing anything crazy. Wasn't racing or anything. I was just driving around, and I came back home. Or actually, the car started to overheat, and I was like, "Man, what's going on?" But I was a mechanic, so I did not know. But I'm talking about I was downtown, and so like cripple crab on a crutch, got the car back. The car died as I was pulling or getting ready to pull into the garage. So what I had to do was whip across the street in my neighbor's driveway, let the garage door up, and then when traffic cleared, start the car and gun it so I could get it across the street and park in the garage. So anyway, like I said, so I parked the car. It just so happens that my cousin had come by and I wasn't home. So I'm already busted. I just didn't know it. Anyway, the next day, my parents came in from out of town. It was a Monday. My mom got ready to go to work. Car wouldn't start. Damn. So, they took the car, had the car to whatever, kind of find out that something that was going to fail on the car failed. But it failed on my watch. The reason why I say paid now or paid later is what I didn't know was that they planned to give me that vehicle. So because of my irresponsibility and I'd even go as far as say my disrespect, I kind of it kind of changed my whole future from there because, as you know, it was kind of an important thing being a junior or senior in high school to have a vehicle so you can go be more social. But because I didn't have that, my reliance was on either, Detroit public transportation or you. And as you know, I never was the type of person to ask for anything. I didn't like to ask for help or assistance. So I wasn't going to, I wasn't just going to put myself out there like that. So anyway, that changed the whole dynamics of my high school experience because I was being a knucklehead and doing dumb stuff.
So what ended up happening? What did your parents end up doing?
Well, my mom ended up buying. That's when my mom ended up buying the white Dynasty, the white.
Wow.
But yeah, like I said, the Dodge was going to be mine, and so they just went ahead and traded it in, and she bought herself a new car. Ain't that something? It's crazy how things work out. But yeah,
it was.
But if I had known that, like I said, I think things would have been a little bit different. But I was immature. I was a single child, and I had to do something. They just said, they said, don't go nowhere. I don't know. I mean, they gave me a whole list of things not to do. Driving the car was not on the list.
I gotta ask, what did your dad do or say?
Like I said, I my dad was always the one that was short on words. So, he only had to say a little bit, like, man, I'm really disappointed. And then that was it. That was worse than anything. My mom, she was always the one, the mean one, being vocal, flying off the handle. But my dad would just kill me with words, So
Wow.
But
Good.
So what that did teach me, and that is something. Again, it's kind of like me and my grandchildren. That led me to my 3 rules of borrowing.
Okay.
Rule number 1: don't borrow something if you can't afford to replace it. Just that simple. Like if you can't afford to replace it, don't even ask for it. If it is absolutely necessary for you to borrow it, make sure you give it back in just as good as or better condition than when you got it. And rule number 3 is don't make nobody borrow their shit back. I mean, borrow their stuff back.
Don't worry, man. I don't know if YouTube gonna strike me down. So you good. You good. Oh, okay. I know you, man. You say what you want to say.
No,
don't let them borrow their stuff back.
Yeah, you know, like, hey man, can I borrow my vacuum cleaner back? Oh man. You've only had it for a year. Like, oh,
that is so true.
So those are my three rules of borrowing. But that came from that experience.
All right.
Because if I was going to do it, which I didn't need, I didn't have to do it. It wasn't really borrowing. I was actually stealing, I guess, if you want to be technical about it. But I should have treated it gently and gave it back to him the way I got it. So.